Hello, is everyone able to hear me? Hello, hello, hello. Please give me a thumbs up or raise your hand if you are able to hear me. Andrea is here. Welcome, Andrea. So nice to have you here. Susan, hello. Kevin Green elevates. Kevin, I'm so sorry. I don't recognize your name, but if I know you, thank you so much. I'm sorry for forgetting your name and thank you so much for being here. Ariane Richardson Fenton, thank you for being here. Darren, dude, so nice to see you. Laura, so nice to see you. Neha, Olga, Susan, Jen, thank you guys all so much for being here. I'm going to make Gabby, who is my executive assistant, the co host. Gabby, I think we can do that, right? She will be able to monitor the chat for me. Or, Gabby, if you raise your hand right now, I'm going to allow you to talk. Let me know if you are able to monitor the chat for me, anyways. Are you able to do that, Gabby?
Yes. Can you hear
Okay,
me?
lovely. All I would love you to do is, if possible, is if you can monitor the chat and make sure if people are having questions as we're going along, if you're able to monitor that, and if it seems like a really pertinent question, please just interrupt me and say, Susan had a question, Kevin had a question. We'd love to answer this as soon as possible. Does that sound good?
Yeah, and then for everybody, there's not the chat icon on the webinar, but there is the Q&A. So just put your questions or anything that you want to comment in the
Ah,
Q&A section.
good call. Okay, so yeah, use the Q&A, and then I'm going to share this immediately so we just get started and don't waste any more time with Babel. There we go. Okay. Everybody seeing this? Gabby, can you give me a quick verbal confirmation?
Yep, all good.
Lovely. Okay. So, welcome to the free signature workshop, a webinar. I know, such a clever title, by Will Greenblatt. And that's me. I'm a former actor turned speaker and communication coach, although you will learn a bit more about that in a second. First thing I want to do, also to test the comment Q&A function, please, if you would, tell me what city you're calling in from first and what you're hoping to learn today or what you're excited about or why you came. Anything like that. And Gabby, if you would read some of these out, please.
Actually, Will, I think for the Q&A, because right now it says questions you ask will show up here. Only host and panelists will be able to see all the questions. I cannot see questions if there are people
Okay.
that are sending
So
it right
I've
now.
I've promoted you to a panelist, so you should be able to see them now. Yeah?
Okay. Yes. All right,
Okay,
let's
lovely.
now I can see. Yep.
So let's read some of these out, please.
Okay, we got Laura coming from Columbus, Ohio, excited to learn all the things.
Awesome.
Susie from DC, excited to see you in action, Will.
Hi, Susan.
Let's see.
Oh, I can see Q&A too. We've got Fort Lauderdale, Colorado Springs, Knoxville, Tennessee. Kevin. Kevin, I'm so sorry. Do we know each other? For some reason, your name is ringing a bell, but I can't place it. Kevin, would you let me know if you and I know each other or if you're kind of coming in from just finding my LinkedIn or somewhere else? Andrea, so nice to see you. Columbus as well. Laura and Andrea, do you guys know each other? I know that's a stupid thing to say because cities are big, but if you do or don't, you should. Kevin is looking to develop my workshop and build my speaking biz. Perfect. Darren Young is from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I'm most excited to hear Will speak. Also, learn how you build and sell workshops. Perfect. I mean, that's what we're doing. Obviously, I've been clear enough in my messaging in the lead up to this thing. This is good. Okay, thanks, guys. I will move on. But I'm really excited to have you here. I am a bit under the weather. If you saw my LinkedIn post from this morning, I'm going to do my best to show up and make this as valuable as possible and also give you guys time to bring your questions, share your workshop potential titles. That's what we're going to be workshopping today, and then ask any questions about the follow up and the lead generation sort of technique that I'll be teaching today. I want to give time for that. There will also be an additional 30 minutes of Q&A. After I run this workshop, I'm going to pitch you my video course, as I said, very quickly, 3 minutes or so at the end. And then I'll stay on for an extra 30 minutes. I know a lot of people may have to drop, but for those people who want to stay and ask anything about this work, doesn't have to be about the course that I'm pitching. Anything about this work, what we talked about today, I'll have another 30 minutes of Q&A at the very end. Sound good? All good? Good to go? Yes. Okay. Sounds good. Laura says, I can't see Andrea's info, but would be delighted to connect. Laura G. Anthony on LinkedIn. That's Andrea. So I'm going to tell you guys my story very quickly, and then you'll learn a bit more about me and why I believe what I believe, which is the stuff I'm going to tell you today. When I was a kid, I started acting at age 7. I did a big movie right away. The very first thing I auditioned for was this movie. It was called The Homecoming, based off a best-selling book, and it had Anne Bancroft in it. If you guys remember Anne Bancroft from The Graduate, Oscar winner. It was wild, but I didn't understand that at the time. I was a young kid, and I just thought, "Ooh, fun, acting, movies." But it kind of kickstarted this childhood acting career that lasted all the way up until until theater school. And so I thought I'm going to be an actor. My life is already set at the age, at a very young age. And I got lots of experience, did over 30 film, TV shows, plays, and I thought I was cruising. And then in high school, as things so often do in our lives, my life got derailed. And my younger brother, Lukey, passed away in a really unexpected freak accident. And I was shattered, as you can probably imagine. So by the time I got to theater school, I was just in a really bad mental health space. And theater school was awful because of the way they sort of tried to use the kids' trauma on stage to get like a good performance out of us. And there was just lots of mental health issues, kids dropping out sort of left and right. I didn't drop out, but once I quit, I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I know I need something different for my life. I was doing too many drugs on the weekend and drinking too much, trying to sort of forget the pain. So I sort of ran away and I started teaching English in Spain. And that was amazing because I realized that instead of just being an actor, I could have a two-way conversation from the stage or from the front of the room. And that was so much more satisfying than just delivering a performance. Getting to talk to people back and forth during whatever performances was the best, and watching people's eyes light up. And then from there, I got asked to be a co founder in an education startup because of my teaching experience in China. So I spent a year and a half in Hangzhou, China, which was amazing. I loved it, but I was working so hard and so stressed out and still not dealing with all of my past trauma and all of the stuff around my brother's death, still drinking and doing way too many drugs, that I ended up suffering a back injury and coming home. And on my 29th birthday, I took this picture and I was just absolutely miserable. I had no job. I had broken up with my girlfriend who I was with at the time, and I was just sort of lost. And then one day, my acting mentor showed me this class she was doing at U of T, which was helping graduate students use their body and their voice and their hands and their face to give better presentations. And she had me audit it for her, and I was like, oh, I can do this. And I said to her, we should start a business around this. So that's what we did. And my very first paid speaking gig was a 90-minute session in New Orleans and for $1 million entrepreneurs at a place called Entrepreneurs Organization, at an organization. And I was terrified, but for some reason, I did it and they loved it and they took me under their wing, and that spawned this massive speaking career that I've managed to have. Since then, I've coached over 5,000 people. I've done over 250 workshops and more talks, but most of them have been workshops. Won a couple of awards, wrote a book, blah, 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 all the stuff that sometimes you need to say to make people know that you're, a business, whatever. But the thing that I'm most happy about these days is my family. This is my wife and my daughter, covered by my dog. And I've decided to show my baby's face because even though we live in a dystopian AI hellhole, I think there's not much they can do with a baby face. She looks like all babies. So that's my newborn. And this is what I love right now. I love building a business that works for me and my family. I don't work crazy hour days, but what I'm trying to do is slowly and sustainably build a $1 million speaking business and then teach as many coaches and consultants as I can to do the same. And I'm not nowhere near that yet, but that's the intention. So before we continue, I just want to check in. How many people sort of roughly knew that story before coming here versus just sort of hearing this all for the first time? If you could just write it in the Q&A. Natalie says first time. Jen said didn't know anything. Didn't know, says Kevin. This is just really interesting. Susan said I knew some of it. Tim said first time. Laura said I knew because you told me last week. Yes, on our call. We had a great call. Darren said just the first half. Andrea said first time, and Andrea and I have talked a lot. I think it's just a reminder that like you really never know if people know your story, because I feel like I sort of tell this story all the time to the point where it's almost annoying for people now. But it just goes to show that a lot of you who maybe know me on LinkedIn and we've even chatted don't know this story. So I always advocate for starting your workshop with your story like this. I call it the 3-act origin story. You'll hear a bit more about that later, which brings you to what you believe today. Why do you care about what you care about, and why do you believe what you believe? And so for me, what this story has taught me, and what is at least relevant for today, is if you want to break into paid speaking, especially as a solopreneur, a coach, a consultant, not a VP at a company, not a startup founder trying to raise millions of dollars, but a solopreneur, which I assume most of us here are, then workshops are way, way better than keynotes. If you kind of take nothing else from this today, I want that to be the big idea you take away. Why? Everybody thinks you should be a keynote speaker because that's what we hear. Oh, this person is a keynote speaker. We think that's what it means to be a paid speaker. And then we think of workshops as, oh, he's a corporate trainer or a facilitator. I don't think you need to not call yourself a speaker if you mostly do workshops. I mostly do workshops. I consider myself a speaker. The difference is the keynote speaker has to be the main speaker, but the workshop is just a hands-on with interactive activities which build practical skills. And it's so much more valuable, in my opinion. It's so much more fun for the speaker and for the audience. And you can actually get the goddamn gig because you're not competing with people like this. So when I spoke at the Remax Euro convention in 2022, this was a dream gig. I got flown in, beautiful hotel, lovely destination. It was my first or second over 10K speaking gig. But even though this was on a stage, this was still considered a workshop. This was a side room. The main stage keynote speaker was this woman, Lovey Ajayi Jones, 4 times New York Times bestsellers, 9 million views of a TED Talk, 4 million downloads of a podcast, 10 years in the keynoting, so not just speaking, keynoting game, 1.2 million followers on social media, and a shout out from Oprah. Please write in the chat if you feel like your resume compares with this woman. If you're on the same level of her sort of fame, notoriety, it does not. Natalie says, lol, says Kevin. Nope, nope, nope. Yeah. Mine did not at the time, Darren cries, and nor does it now, not even close. This is insanely impressive what this woman has managed to do. And if you go on her website, that's even just the tip of the iceberg. She's been in the game forever. She does really good stuff. She's at that point where her name and her public profile on the flyer will bring people to the event. And that's the job of a keynote speaker. Get attendees in the door, sell tickets. That's why they get hired. But a workshop speaker's job, all you have to do is teach them something they didn't know before that they can actually use. And that goes for whether it's at a conference, like the one I just showed you, or whether you just go into a company and give them a 3-hour, 2-hour workshop on a specific skill. Or whether it's a company learning day or an offsite or retreat. I'm going to show you a version of mine that I did later. All you have to do is teach something that they will use in their work and remember you, remember your framework, remember your lesson, and you've provided the value that a workshop speaker provides. You get paid usually less than a keynote because you're not helping sell any tickets, but you can still, I know some workshop speakers that charge 40 grand. And I'm not anywhere near that, but it's possible as long as you show the value. I'm just going to check for questions if we have any right now. Gabby, is there anything I'm missing, by the way, that you're seeing?
Not any new ones.
Okay, cool. I'm going to keep going. If you have a question, you can always at any point raise your hand with the function, or you can just write in the chat, excuse me, I have a question, hey, Will, 1 second, Gabby, hi, and just, yeah, try to pause us if anything is not making sense or if you want clarification on a point. Please give me a thumbs up in the Q&A thing if that makes sense. Awesome. I think, Darren, did you raise a hand to say that makes sense, or did you raise a hand because you have a question? The old, okay, Kevin says that makes sense. The last thing from Darren is still the crying face. Okay, thumbs up, that makes sense. Great, lovely. I'm going to continue. Here's another thumbs up, hands up situation. How many people have thought about doing a TEDx who are on this call right now? Me, yes, says Jen. Humaira has a question. I'll get to your question in a sec, Humaira. Anonymous attendee says, I've done one. Anonymous attendee, no need to make yourself unanonymous, but I'm curious if you don't mind sharing the topic or the title of the one you did. I mean, I guess that means we can find you. Oh, it's Tim Dawes. Okay, Tim, yes. Kevin says, I've heard mixed reviews on the ROI, perception versus reality from actual TEDx speakers. Yes, I think there is a sort of myth that once you do the TEDx talk, the phone starts blowing off the hook for you to do like $20,000 keynotes. And most people say it doesn't quite work like that, although it can be really, really effective. Okay, Tim's was reimagining compassion as power. The reason I asked, terrible name. Okay, well, that's what we're here to do. We're here to workshop names. What does anyone know the TEDx slogan? What is TEDx? What is TEDx three-word slogan for why they exist? Their raison d'être, their ideas worth sharing. Yeah, that's right. Um, Ideas worth sharing. And that's what your signature workshop is. Yeah, Kevin, so close. Sharif ideas. Yeah, a typo there. Ideas worth sharing. What I'm trying to do today and what I do with my Create Your Signature workshop course is help you find your next idea worth sharing and creating a signature workshop and really a whole speaker brand around that. So, how do you find an idea worth sharing and get it to the people who will pay you to come and talk about it? Not a TEDx talk where there doesn't have to be any business teaching, it's just you talking, but a useful, valuable corporate training slash talk that will get you either into a company or a conference to get you paid, and then also have them be like, great, what else do you have for us in terms of coaching packages, in terms of one-on-one ad hoc work, in terms of a longer term consulting package? That's the point of what we're trying to do here, is find this idea we're sharing, turn it into a workshop, and have that be the thing we can put out there to start to build our speaking career. Any questions at this stage? I'm going to show you us how to do that in a second, but I just want to see. Tim Dawes says, yes, I know someone who did TEDx. Over 1 million views, got almost no business. The idea didn't pay. Exactly. A TEDx talk can be how to grow a cactus in your jar in your dorm room. I mean, like, it doesn't matter, right? As long as it fits their act. I've seen some ridiculous TEDx talks, and because of the brand name, it will get views on YouTube, or a lot of them do. It doesn't mean that the idea is valuable to people with a corporate budget. And even though we're all coaches and we love working with people, individuals, we still have to keep in mind, what would a corporate decision maker pay for as our idea? That doesn't mean we have to only talk about profit or only talk about things we don't even care about, but we have to find a way to make our idea both good for humanity and also sexy for the bottom line of a corporate pocketbook. Does that make sense? Kevin also says some people will help you with 5 Zooms for 30K to craft said TED Talk. I think I may know exactly who you're talking about, Kevin. And yeah, I think that's really not worth it. So if anybody offers you that, I would highly recommend against it, unless you have money and TEDx is something that is just valuable for you, just for, psychological fun reasons. Don't do it. Yeah, my opinion. Okay, how do we find this idea? That's what we're here to talk about today. This is the what I found over the years of working with workshops and helping other people with theirs is you really only need 4 things to come up with your signature workshop: a name, then a story like the one I told you guys today, which kind of shows them why you're talking about this workshop and this big idea, and then an exercise where they can actually apply the big idea or apply a framework for the big idea. So if you guys remember, what is my workshop name from today? What did I call this workshop? Mine's a bit goofy, but I don't know if you remember. I'll give you a more serious one in a sec. Just trying to see if people are remembering. What is I call this? Build your signature workshop. Yeah. Or the free signature workshop. It's really the workshop. Yeah. So the main concept is kind of there. And I think, enough people sort of laugh about it on LinkedIn that I feel like, okay, it's good. It may not be the most clear, but I think it's sort of funny enough to get people's attention, and still being decently clear that this is a workshop about how to do and get workshops. Then I told you my story. And then I told you my big idea. What was my big idea that I laid out a little while ago? Do you guys remember? It was a slide with just a sort of a sentence on the slide. And it was right after my story. Anyone? Uh-oh. I've stumped everyone. Workshops way better than keynotes. Yes, workshops are the solution. Workshops are better than keynotes. Workshops are way better. Yes. Good, good, good. Okay, that's exactly right. That's my big idea. That's the big idea of this workshop. And then there's a signature exercise that you have to do, which will help apply the big idea or move them towards the big idea or help them implement the big idea. And that's what we're going to do now. We're going to come up with the name of your workshop and also, sort of by association, the big idea. Here's the formula. You have what's called a phrase that pays, and then how audience members can thing they want or problem they want to avoid by thing you teach. A phrase that pays, which is like your intellectual property, your phrase. For me, it's create your signature workshop or signature workshop or the workshop, whatever. I'm still honing mine. And for me, it would probably be how coaches can build their speaking career by through a 90-minute corporate workshop. I used to have that explicit on the first slide of this thing. But that's the phrase that pays. I'll give you, or the whole workshop name. I'll give you another one. So this one that recently landed me a 13K speaking gig in Panama, which has since led to over 50K in potential leads for other talks and for coaching packages for the people there. It was Story First, how facilitators create trust and connection by sharing their 3-act origin story. That's the pitch I gave them that they accepted. So Story First is, and the 3-act origin story are sort of my phrases that pays for how to teach people to tell the kind of story I told you guys at the beginning. Sorry if this is sounding a bit complicated, but this is the title that I used, and I just wanted to show you that it works. I'm not trying to flex or brag, but I just want to say that this actually does work. And maybe I am trying to flex and brag. Maybe why am I lying? I don't know. Darren says, I've always tried teaching a full framework to solve a specific problem, but it takes so long. Do you need to solve a specific problem or just a small part of your framework? Okay, yes. I've done entire workshops off of a single question that I taught people. I did an entire networking workshop, and the only thing I actually taught them was the phrase, which I call the 4 magic words. So what brings you here? Is that 4 words? Yes. So what brings you here? 5 words. What brings you here? This is the 4. It was solving a problem that everybody was like, I have no idea how to start a conversation at a networking event. So I went, well, this is what I say. I go, what brings you here? And then I instantly have a conversation around the person tells me like, oh, I saw this thing and then I came here. I'm an investor, so I'm looking for that. And then we were off to the races. That was literally the only thing I taught them. Like explicitly, I answered people's questions. We workshopped it. I role played it. I gave them feedback on like the way they said it and the things they said after and their body language and their voice and if they made me feel comfortable or if they looked, But the only thing I taught them was literally 4 words. That can be the sort of heart of it. But then everything else kind of comes up naturally. So a tiny part of your framework is more than enough. As long as it's just like a good bang for your buck thing that you can do in a room full of people. Does that make sense, Darren? Does that make sense, everybody else? We're going to workshop these now. I want to workshop your guys' ideas, and then the signature exercise, the exercise can come from that as well once we start doing it. Who would like to go first and give me the workshop name you have right now, or a workshop idea you've been kicking around, and then we'll workshop it. And if you raise your hand, I'll take you off. I'll do the allow you to talk thing. Okay, Kevin says I'll go. So Kevin, I'm going to allow you to answer live. That should work. Kevin, are you able to speak? Gabby, are you able to help Kevin speak? I know Laura has raised her hand. Sorry, guys, I should be better at this. Kevin, are you on mute? Are you not able to talk? Please type what the issue is. It said you're supposed to be able to answer live.
Do what you did for me, and give him permission or request him to speak.
Okay, gotcha. Are you able to help me out with that, Gabby?
I don't know.
Okay. Kevin, for now, as we figure out the tech, would you just type in your workshop title, please? And hopefully. So yeah, Zoom setup is different. Unsure about the tech. Same here, my friend. Okay, Kevin is going to type his in, and for everyone else who wants to go, please type yours in. Hopefully, we're going to get people to be able to come on video and come off mute. But for now, we're just going to do it this way as we figure out. So Laura, I'll have you go after Kevin. Recipe for success, chef background. It's unlocking purpose, passion, and potential using onion as metaphor. Lovely. Okay. So, Kevin, let me see if I can bring you up here. Participants. I think I have to go to participants. Okay. Where is Kevin in the participants? Here you are. Allowed to talk. Kevin, would you try speaking for me, please?
Testing one, testing one.
Beautiful. We have liftoff. Okay. Thank you so much. Kevin, please say that out loud for us.
Yeah, so I have a series of keynotes and workshops. There's three essential ingredients to the recipe for success, but for our conversation, the first one essentially is using an onion as a metaphor, outer layers, getting to the core, where we define and unlock for folks purpose, passion, and potential. Those three tenets serving as a filter for everything their life is about.
Okay, lovely. To me, this sounds like it's a bit of a B2C audience. Is that correct? Like individuals who are sort of coming in on their own, or do you take this into companies or events?
Yeah, so one of the reasons I wanted to spend some time with you today, I'm in the process of switching from college to corporate audience.
Ah, yes. Okay, great.
And so this is going to be more about like identity transformation, cultural shift, engagement, etc.
Okay, lovely. So, recipe for success. That would be if we put this through the filter of our workshop naming formula. And just the reason why this is important to go through. You can kind of call it whatever you want. Like a lot of the times people will know you and just go, "Hey Kevin, I want you to speak. Can you talk about this?" And then later when they're marketing it, they go, "Do you have a name?" Like it doesn't necessarily need to have a perfect name right away. The reason why it's such a good exercise is it gets us as the speaker crystal clear on who it's for and exactly what we're doing with them. Make sense?
Yeah.
So, Kevin, I would just ask you, who do you think is a good corporate audience member? When I say corporate audience members, if you can think of either a team or a job title or a corporate function, because once we know who it's for, we can really drill down on the actual day-to-day work problem that we're solving for them, which is what they really want from a workshop speaker. Do you have a sense of that yet?
I'm very much in the process of niching down and putting words on paper for that. Initially,
Yeah.
my thoughts are we know like human resources, L&D, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So I've got to kind of pick a lane in that world, but those are the first ones that obviously come to
Okay.
mind.
What I would say is HR and L&D are probably going to be your client, but they won't be your audience.
Gotcha, gotcha.
They are going to be the ones you talk to when we get into the DM thing later.
Okay.
Most of my suggestions are to approach L&D people. They're the ones who, for whatever reason, I've always had the most success with cold outreach, the most success building relationships. And I
Yeah.
think like three of my relationships, or maybe even two people that I've had relationships with uh, who are both L&D people have been worth like over $220,000 of contracts and speaking gigs for me, just with two people, because I built a relationship, because they advocated for me at their different companies. One of them brought me, I worked with her at Wayfair, and then she brought me with her when she moved from Wayfair to Boston Dynamics, and then got me another few speaking gigs and consulting packages with them. So like the L&D people, for whatever reason, in my personal experience, are the ones you want to sort of go talk to initially. But you're not solving their problem. You're solving the problem of somebody else in their company that their problem is trying to find a speaker to solve that problem. Does that make sense? Like you're not making an L&D person's job easier with your actual workshop. You're making sales team easier, or leaders, VPs, or data analysts, or somebody like that. Kevin, so your background is as a chef, correct? You still there? Oh, did we lose Kevin? We may have lost Kevin. Okay, I want to go to the next person, but Kevin, if you are able to come back at some point, I would love to keep going with your stuff. Oh, Kevin's back. He got cut off. Okay, let me just pull you back real quick, Kevin, and then we'll go. We'll get you back on, and we'll make sure I give you something to tweak your thing. Okay, Kevin Green elevates. Promote. I'm going to promote you to a panelist, and so maybe you can bring yourself on video if possible. Hey, there you are.
All right,
Thank
what's up?
you.
I had an incoming call and got kicked off. Anyway, I'm
All
back.
good, all good. Okay. So, Kevin, what's your background? You said a chef, but do you also have a corporate background at all?
Yes, I've got 17 years in the culinary world. 4 of those were as a corporate chef for a large national dining chain,
Okay.
and 6 years of entrepreneurship.
Okay. Now here's a thought. Would you ever teach other corporate chefs how to be a better corporate chef?
No, I'm not
Okay.
drawn to the chef
Yeah.
world.
All good. All good. So you want to pivot away from what you used to do to something new.
Yeah, leverage the culinary because
Yeah.
people love talking about food.
Totally. Yeah. That's what I do with acting, as you can probably tell. Like I used to be an actor. I don't work with actors, but I got all of my public speaking skills, so to speak, most of that from acting. So and it's a world that people kind of have a mystique around. And so when you tell someone you're an actor, like if you tell someone you're a chef or an athlete, like or a singer, there's certain jobs that have that sort of glam that people will gravitate towards. So I think it's very smart that you're doing that. And it's also probably a big part of your life. You had 17 years. So like for sure, that's a big part of you. So
Yes.
now the question just becomes, how can you find the right audience for this? Because when you're approaching L&D people, you don't want them to have to do any work to think of what problem is this is going to solve. You want to do as much of the work as you can for them.
Yes.
So have you talked to any L&D people so far about your workshop keynote and whether or not they would be interested? Have you had any of those conversations?
I'm working on it. I've had several conversations. I've actually got some folks in my network. They used to work for Gary Vee. They worked with some other big heavy hitters. And so we're ideating together. I'm actually teaching a professional development course at University of Tennessee in January. So it's these workshops
Awesome.
in
Yeah.
8 weeks. So I've got a chance to vet it. Specifically, though, I've not talked to HR and L&D yet,
Yeah.
but we're working in that direction.
Yeah, what I'll just say is this, like the corporate route, we had a guy called Caleb Spittler. Do you follow Caleb on LinkedIn?
We hung out at Bookable Speakers 3 weeks ago.
Okay, great. So Caleb came in and talked to my community 2 weeks ago, and he broke down the 3 different business models of being a speaker. I don't know if you've ever heard him talk about this. The
Not
first
that.
one is keynoter, which, as you know, I don't advocate for. The second one is consultant, which I do advocate for, which is the corporate route, workshops for corporate. The third is coach, which is whatever you want to talk about to get individual one-on-one clients from B to C. I teach the B2B route in my course because from all my experience, it's easier to just go to a company. They have a room, they have a bunch of people they can tell to go to the workshop, or they're throwing an event and they need a speaker. It's so much easier to get plugged into their world as a speaker than it is to create your own opportunities and just try to find the exact right rooms. None of these are wrong. It's just the one I sort of say is the one I think, and the one that not people really know exists. So if you can find a corporate audience, as I said, job title, job function, sales is usually pretty reliable because sales makes them money. And so they will invest in training if they can increase sales by 1%. If they're a big enough company, that's worth $5,000, right? So if you can just find who might really benefit from this in a corporate setting. So what I'm going to give you as homework,
Yeah.
Kevin, I'm going to give you two
Yeah.
things. One is a potential takeaway. One is recipe for success, how salespeople can think under pressure like a chef, whatever, like sort of, find some analogy to your skills that you picked up as a chef, and close more deals with the onion method.
Yeah.
That's a potential version of this. And so in there, we've got the phrase that pays, recipe for success. I love it. How salespeople, or sales reps is probably better, just to use the corporate jargon, can think under pressure and win more deals or close more deals by using the onion method.
Yeah.
Give that a try. Think about that. And then the other piece of homework for you is anyone you know in the corporate world, especially in the L&D, learning and development, um, invite them to a virtual coffee or just say, hey, would you chat? And just be like, hey, I've got this workshop. I've got this idea. This is the title. Is this the kind of thing that you think would work well? And don't, it's not a pitch. It's just feedback. They may say, hey, this would be great for our company, but they may not. But really, it's not transactional. It's just, would you give me some advice? People love giving advice. Some of them, the best advice I've gotten have been from chats like this. And then just say like, what do I need to know to make this workshop successful? Like, what would you want out of a workshop like this if you were buying, looking for a speaker? And then just have as many of those conversations as you can, and then start what I call the free to fee method, which we're going to go into in a little bit. Really
Okay,
nice,
awesome.
Kevin. Really, really
Thank you.
nice.
Thank you so much. Can I ask
Yeah.
one question just
Sure,
to make
sure.
sure when I got
Yeah.
cut off? So, buyers, HR, L&D, audience, sales, training, VP, execs, analysts, etc.
Yes. Now, there's another piece that's you don't have to worry too much about, but like the L&D person doesn't have final say. They have to run it up the flagpole to like the CFO or maybe an executive director of learning or something. But they're the people who you're going to be able to contact on LinkedIn who will give you their time. Especially if you follow the free to fee method where you're not pitching them a paid workshop, you're pitching them a free workshop at first. Again, we're going to get into that. But it's the way to start having more specific conversations with your ideal client who is the L&D person, and they will become your champion at the organization. They'll be like, Kevin's awesome. I had a chat with him. I've seen his stuff. He's really dynamic. He's got this cool chef's background. I really think we could try this out. He's not charging us anything. Can I bring him in? And then somebody will go, sure, fuck it. And then they'll bring you in. And then if you nail it, then they'll be like, great. Can you do this for another team? Can you do a quarterly thing? And then you're going to want to have a think about like, how do I structure this so I can keep working with this organization? But the secret is once they like you, they'll bring you back a lot for new leadership, for new salespeople. Every time they have a new hire, they're going to want to bring your thing back if they like it. So that's how you get the recurring revenue from a single corporate client.
Awesome. Thank
Okay,
you.
awesome. Nice job,
Yeah.
Kevin. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Laura now, and I'll take, I'll promote you to a panelist, Laura, and then Kevin, I'll kick you off. Sorry, but thank you so much.
Thank you.
Laura, are you able to hear me?
All right. Hello.
Hello. Nice to see you again.
Nice seeing you.
Yeah, lay on me the idea.
I
for
put
the
it in
talk
the
title.
chat.
Okay, I'll
so
find it.
open that up.
Ooh, would you read it aloud? It's always nice. I love to give my clients
Yeah.
a chance to read aloud because it helps them to.
And I don't see it anymore.
Okay.
So
I
I
can
might
say
have.
it for you if you
Okay.
like.
It's not on there. It's not in the chat anymore for
Okay.
me.
I'm seeing great minds don't think alike. How great leaders can develop high-performing teams by understanding and leveraging the power of neurodiversity. That's option one. Option two, a leadership mindset for all minds. How innovative leaders can prepare for the future of work by recognizing and harnessing the skills AI can't duplicate. I'm going to take a quick poll of the audience. Who likes number one and who likes number two? Just write one or two to say which one you liked better. We've got one, two votes for two, one. We're split. Two. This is like Survivor, when you don't know who's going home. It's like one vote for Seth, one vote for Jessica, one vote for Seth, one vote for Jessica. Okay, I think two is the slight majority. Yeah, I kind of think we can go for a mix, to be honest. But let's start workshopping this. So your audience members are leaders, correct? Now, I've had great
For
success.
this one. Yeah.
Yeah,
For this one.
yeah. I've had and that's the thing too. Having a signature workshop doesn't mean you don't have other workshops or keynotes even. It just means that when you are putting content out there on LinkedIn, when you are talking about stuff, it is sort of your flagship one. It's the thing you don't mind being known as this person for the next couple of years of your life. So if you don't mind being thought of, Laura, as the all minds mindset person for the next phase, great. Then that becomes your signature workshop. Great minds don't think alike is good because it's a pattern interruption. It's the disruption of a cliche that we heard, and it's a strong point of view. It's not, great minds do not think alike. This is not true. Minds are different. So I like actually that title. In general, just take out adjectives. We're struggling for real estate in these titles. So just great leaders, innovative leaders, no, leaders. If you have a specific level of leader, great. VPs, executive directors, C-suite, that's fine. But yeah, no adjectives at this stage. Can develop high-performing teams. I would say that's pretty good. Can prepare for the future of work. That's also good because that's really timely right now. My only issue with number 2 is harnessing the skills AI can't duplicate. That's too vague for me. I want to know exactly what you're going to teach me. So what are you going to come in and do, Laura, when you come into my organization?
And that's where I'm struggling.
Yeah.
What I have been doing is I have been training leaders to understand neurodiversity,
Yeah.
how it is a competitive advantage, and how they can create systems and environments in which people feel included and able to bring their best self and their
Right.
most innovative ideas.
Great.
So it's an inclusion topic to spark
Yeah.
the talent. But I don't have like an onion or
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
story or a
Right.
thing.
Well, that's part of what we do in the signature workshop as well, is come up with that framework. So it's like, how do you sort of say, like, having a framework is good just because it works as like a curriculum if you do a longer workshop series. So for example, I made up a framework the first time I went in and did a corporate thing, and then I realized it was actually like once I just said it, I wanted 5 A's. So I came up with 5 A's and I worked on it. It's not like I just, pulled it directly out of my ass, but I worked on it for a little bit. And then the more I did it over time, the more I realized, oh, this actually really helps. It's like a curriculum. So we have 5 modules. Each module has a name. And there's 2 or 3 learnings per module. So that's something we can come up with as well for you. For the workshop itself, you'd want to just show one part of that framework, like we said with Darren. So for the workshop, not what you would do later when you get more time, what is one thing you can show them, have them do? And it can be a question to ask themselves before they like write off somebody who's behaving in a way they don't understand. It could
Mhm.
be, what is the best question you can offer a neurodiverse employee? Like, what is the best thing you can say to them in a one-on-one to get the best out of them? What is
Mhm.
the number one policy you can institute tomorrow that will immediately have better effects on your whole team, neurodiverse and neurotypical, right? Um, so it's about drilling down into what you already do that maybe seems obvious to you, but just
Mhm.
like really, really changes things. So it's got to be non-obvious, powerful, but simple to remember and implement. Does anything come to mind
Yeah,
like that?
so I have my talks are centered around 3 core concepts, kind of 3 threshold concepts. The first being great minds don't think alike.
Okay.
The second concept is assumption is the risk, meaning when you make assumptions about what you observe or and how to dispel those assumptions. And the third core concept is that the ramp that you build for one becomes the pathway for many. Because when you try to create systems and supports, it not only helps the people who are neurodivergent or disabled, it creates the pathway for many. So
Yeah. So
those are
sorry,
my
just for
learning.
time, Laura, I'm going to cut you off.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, but like you said, you didn't have an onion. You do have an onion. You have a ramp. The ramp is perfect. How many
Okay.
people like the ramp thing? Just say yes, me, hand raise. Yes. Yes. Love it. Yep. I really like that. So what you would do is that would become your big idea, Laura. Your big idea, the thing you would say after you're done telling your story of, your experience as, and from what I remember from your call, you said you are not neurodiverse yourself, but you have, it's
It's
somebody
the
close to
people on
you.
my team.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, the people on your team. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Um,
my mom is a brain injury survivor.
right. Yes. Okay. So what you would do at the beginning of this workshop is you would tell the story of your mother's brain injury, if you feel okay with it. I think you would. And then you would talk about what that was like growing up. You would talk about how you got into law. And then you would talk about now coming across neurodiverse employees on your team. And you'd be like, what I realized is the ramp you build for one becomes the path you build for many. That's the big idea. That's the takeaway. And then the ramp thing becomes the image that they hold in their mind. It becomes the frog in the hot water for Al Gore. It becomes Andrew Yang had this thing about when he was campaigning for president about the America being a rowboat with a big leak in it and it's just leaking money to big corporations and stuff. And that was his image. So it becomes your image, the onion for Kevin, for example. Images are great. They stick, they stay. And it's just it's a beautiful metaphor. So I would make that your big idea. And then what is the quickest, most bang for your buck ramp that they can build tomorrow in their organization?
You asking me that question because I'm taking notes.
Yeah. So maybe not for now. I mean, okay,
Yeah.
let's do it quickly because I want to get into the next phase of the workshop. But quickly, do you have a thought? Is there a,
Yeah.
yeah.
By using, and something that I'm using is called my OS, basically my operating system, is that we can tell people what is your operating system so that people understand the way your brain thinks. And so it's kind of a play on iOS, but it's
Yes,
my
my
OS.
OS. Is that your intellectual property?
Working on it.
But I mean, you came up with it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is it. You have everything you need right there. Brilliant. So you teach them iOS that day. You just run over quickly the 4 types or the 5 types or whatever it is. Like, you show them quickly how to identify it. And then you just say to them, next time you're on a one-on-one with any of your employees, you say, we're going to start trying to figure out what we call my OS. I'm going to ask you a simple question. Which one are you? You're going to send your team this PDF so they can self-assess. And then in your next one-on-one, you're going to have that conversation. You're going to learn as much as you can about their OS. And then from there, you're going to start creating the culture that's going to make them. This is brilliant. The name needs some workshopping, obviously, but like I'm so glad we got to the meat and potatoes of it, Laura, because I think this will be just a really, really valuable and powerful workshop. And then from there, you pitch them the whole thing. What is all the other ramps? What are the other 2 frameworks you mentioned? And then you can do a whole year's worth of stuff with them if you want.
Well, thanks for everybody, to
Lovely.
your feedback and everybody else for their
Yeah,
votes.
yeah, lovely. Jen says love that. I really think it's super strong, Laura. I figured it would be because you've got really good stuff going on, and you've got Google and Intuit already bringing you in to speak, so you're doing great. But this is awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, I'm going to move on now because I want to get to the sort of actionable part of this workshop, and this is about the DMs and the outreach. So as I mentioned, I have something called the free to fee strategy. Once we name it, then we start pitching it via the DMs. As I said to Kevin, go for people who have learning and development in their name. Now, they can say senior, they can say director, it can say manager, but basically L&D or learning and development. Sometimes they say training, sometimes they say talent development, but look for those L&D or those words. Then you're going to give them a pitch, and this is the pitch. You're going to say, hey, personalized message. Would you be open to a quick chat? I'm validating my new workshop name. My thesis is, there's a shorter version I have of this now that I found to work a bit better, but this is the general gist of it. And I'm going to send all of you I'm going to actually paste in the chat in a second what the actual DM that I've been using recently to get better results, to get the 48.62 whatever response rate. It's a bit tighter than this was. This was my early version. My thesis is B2B salespeople will build better relationships with potential buyers by treating them as humans, talking like humans, and sharing their 3-act origin story up front. I'm offering a virtual version for free to 2 companies to build a case study in exchange for some data and testimonials. Let me know if you're interested, and I'll send you a link to book a call. And this person said, hey, Will, love the concept. You've definitely caught my attention. I'm free Friday at 9 a.m. I now have done the workshop with this person. We're currently in talks to bring the paid version to their company, and she already referred me to another company because she loved the idea before I even delivered the workshop. So that's not going to happen every time, nearly every time, but you'll notice the response rate is really high for cold LinkedIn DMs, and I think it's because it's offered for free. I did that because I wasn't confident in my workshop, and then I realized it works so much better than pitching a paid thing because you get on the phone with them, and that's the next part. You get on the discovery calls. Remember, I was talking to Kevin about, have you had these conversations with L&D people? That's what the discovery calls are for. You send them the link to book the 15-minute Zoom chat, and then you get on the call with them and you say, hey, what's going on in your organization? Where are the problems that you're having that, what made you interested in my workshop? Have you tried anything like this? I have a whole sales script in my course, Blatant Pitch. And then you do 1 to 2 workshop thingies for free, like of the free workshops, You collect all the data, the proof, the testimonials. This was great. This helped us. People are now doing this instead and they loved it. You iterate based on that feedback. Like you go, okay, well, they didn't like this part or this big idea didn't land, but then this other thing I said did. So, and then once you've done two, and this came directly from a corporate person who I had a chat with, she said you only need two case studies to start charging. If a company sees you had decent results for two other companies, they'll pay for it, as long as the idea is sound and you seem cool, and then you start charging. The final piece to that is a lot of people ask, so yeah, it's name, hey name plus personal message. Are you open to a chat? Getting consent. I'm validating my new workshop. I'm not saying this works. I don't know if it does. Don't say that explicitly, but that's the implication. I'm offering for free for two companies, only two. In exchange for this, let me know. What to charge? This is the question I often get asked, so I just want to make sure I cover this. If you're just getting started speaking and you really don't feel comfortable that you're going to nail it, stay in this range. $500 once you start charging to $2,500. I find most corporate people, if they have any interest at all, will throw down $2,500 without much conversation. That's what I used to charge, and I used to book so many talks because I was comfortable working for that much. I book fewer talks nowadays because I charge more, but it works itself out in terms of the math because I'm able to charge more now. Expert, non-author. This is for people, if you feel like you're good at what you do and you have this great background. Laura, you certainly qualify. I don't know if you are a non-author. I'm not saying that, but you're certainly an expert given your experience. Kevin, I would say you're an expert given your years of experience. 2,500 to 5,000. No reason why you can't get this if you're decent on stage and you have a little bit of proof through the free to fee method. And your LinkedIn looks good. That's usually another thing. And then if you have a proven expert, like you've been doing this for a bunch of companies and you've written a book, 5 to 10 grand. This is what I charge because I consider myself a proven expert now and I've written a book. So now this is what I charge. Eva Rose Daniel gave this breakdown, and I love her so much for doing this for speakers because it gave me the confidence to go up to this. And now I regularly get this to talk, and it's the best because before I was stuck here. So that's the workshop in a nutshell. Any questions? I have 2 minutes before I'm going to hit you with the pitch. Are there any questions on this stuff? Keep in mind, quick questions, because keep in mind, we're going to have a 30-minute Q&A after the pitch. So if you absolutely have to dash, I'll take a question now, and then I'll get into my pitch. And please just write it in the chat. Will you be sharing the deck? Natalie says, yes, I'll be sending the deck to everybody who was here and who signed up. Why is the book critical from anonymous attendee? I don't know. I think it just sort of makes people think like, well, they wrote a book. They must be an expert. Obviously, especially nowadays, you can ghostwrite. You can use AI. You can pay to pay. I paid to publish mine. Nobody asked me to write a book. But it makes people think that you're more valuable than they otherwise do. And I don't know. The speaking industry is still, I think, older in that respect, where they really respect a book. Anyone else? Love the free testimonial. I did that when I ran a digital marketing company. Free for testimonial, says Tim. It drove business. Yes, it works so well. Free for testimonial is massive, especially if it's a big company. I know a lot of people who do that on LinkedIn. They'll work with somebody for free who's big, let's say, and then they'll just say, hey, can you shout me out? And then that person's testimonial means so much, and then that drives a ton of business. Any other questions quickly if you have to drop before I hit you with my pitch for the video course for the last thing, just outlining what's in it and what it costs and if you like it. No? Okay. I'm going to hit you all with the pitch, as I said. Oh, yes. I'll also be sharing the 3-act origin story ebook, which goes more into the story I told you at the beginning. I think it's super, super important for your signature workshop, but there's a whole module, sub-module in the video course that breaks it down, shows you exactly how to do that. The course itself. Oh, yeah, this is, don't worry about this. The course itself, the video course. Why can't I go further? Where are we here? Maybe I'm in the wrong. Oh, yes, I am in the wrong thing. So the video course itself has who it is for before you buy it. I just want to let you know that this is for, or not for, executives, corporate leaders in management, or established keynote speakers. You don't need a signature workshop if you're one of these people. You just need to use your name and your status to go get keynote speaking money. Who this is for is coaches and consultants, fractional solopreneurs, new and aspiring speakers, and business content creators, because you can offer this longer consulting corporate service on the back end. Mine is a 6-month coaching cohort. I'm running one now for a company called Bird Construction. They're like a very kind of forward-thinking construction company, so they invest in storytelling and public speaking skills for their leaders. I work with them twice a year. I do a long corporate coaching cohort. I charge 25K per year, so I make a kind of easy 50K from this one client per year. That's the beauty of this, is you can get those things off the back end. So that's why I have it for coaches and consultants. What you actually are going to do is turn your story and expertise, like we've been workshopping today, into a profitable workshop, but there's so much more than what we did today. So the branding comes from the storytelling. Then the outreach, I break down everything you need to know in the outreach. Then we talk about the actual workshop. How do you structure it? What do you actually put in it, like I did with Laura? All of that is laid out. Rehearsal and delivery. How do you become a magnetic, dynamic speaker once you're there? That really, really fucking matters. And I know that a lot of workshop trainers neglect this because they think I'm not a keynote speaker. I don't have to be dynamic. You got to hold people's attention. You're competing with LinkedIn, phone, everything else. And then part 5 is the follow-up. How do you turn each speaking engagement into 5 more speaking engagements and a few corporate coaching courses? That's all in part 5. And then there's some bonus stuff. And then there's a whole bunch of templates. I go through the whole feed of free strategy. There's action items, homework, all these templates, all these things you can work through. There's a warm outreach list. I show you how to use these tech tools that I use that are super, super important. And then there's all these people who say that this works, and they could be lying, but I'll just tell you that they're not. MJ, Namrata, and Tony, you can reach out to all these people on LinkedIn if you're having any reservations of whether this is worth your money. I just want to make sure I'm not going over time. Good. I've still got 3 minutes for my pitch. Regular price for this course is $6.99. I wanted to make it affordable, but also a proper investment, because I do think this will eventually, but not very quickly, lead you to $2,500, $5,000 workshops, and will save you months and months and months of what I had to learn the hard way. And we have weekly coaching calls. So if you scan this code, you will get access to 2 free months of weekly coaching calls. All we do in the coaching calls is either workshop your workshop, answer your questions, where you're stuck, help you go through the video course, and then I bring in a monthly guest speaker who will talk about, as Caleb did, the business model. I've got a guy called Greg Brizendine coming in who's going to talk about corporate KPIs and how to pitch to L&D people based on the actual stuff they want. So if you want this, for $100 off, the course is regularly $16.99. For $5.99 plus the 2 free months of weekly calls, scan this code, and I would absolutely love to have you in there. We meet every week, and there's the whole video course. I think it's about 8 hours of content. We've recently had our first 2 people finish the course, and as I said, we've had some great results so far, coaching leads, and just a lot of clarity on what it is that you want to be known for, your idea worth spreading for the next couple years of your career. So that's the pitch. I will be here for the next. Yes.
I don't think the participants and I cannot see a code or anything
okay.
else.
Let me fix that right away. Thank you for letting me know. Here's the code. Is everybody seeing this now?
Yes, now I can see it.
We can't see the code, cannot see a code. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for letting me know, Laura. So this is the code. This will be, trying to think about when I said this was going to be active till. I think I'm giving everybody till end of day tomorrow, Thursday, to make the decision. I'd love for you to join, but I don't want to have false scarcity, but I also don't want to leave the discount up for too long. So take your time, think about it, but also would love to have you in there. And if you know you want to do it, may as well get the discount. Okay, now I'm done my pitch, and I will be here for the next 30 minutes to answer any questions. It does not have to be about the course. It does not have to be about how to pay me money. It can simply be about the work that you want to do, your signature workshop. I can workshop your title again, like we did with the the people we did before. And then I can answer any questions about who to reach out to, how to validate this thing, the free to fee method. Those are kind of the 2 main things I think we can chat about. So we're at time now. Thank you so much for being here. Anybody who can stay and wants to stay, I'm here for the next 30 minutes. If you do have to leave, thank you so much. I loved being here with you guys and your work and your questions and your engagement. Let me check if there's anything. Reaching out on LinkedIn, got to run. Thank you. Got to jump. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you. Humaira says, people jump in, you will not regret it. Yes, Humaira is already a member. If you have any questions, Humaira, can they ask you? I hope the answer is yes. I figure it is because you're so awesome, but I do want to just get your consent on that before I start sending people your way. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Jen. Awesome, guys. Really, really loved having you here. Anyone have any questions? Please raise your hand or write it in the Q&A, and I'll pull you off mute. Kevin, I'm gonna bring you back. Kevin, I do want to see if somebody else has a question first, just because you did get some time, so I want to prioritize someone else if that's okay. But if nobody else has a question, I will definitely get back to you. And we do have 30 minutes, so hopefully we can get back to you. So I'll give people a couple minutes to raise their hand, Kevin, and if nobody has a question or wants to workshop, I'll get to you. Thank you, Kevin. Humaira says you can connect on LinkedIn for any questions. Humaira Akhtar at on LinkedIn. Okay. Anyone have any other questions? Want to workshop your signature workshop? I know, Darren, you wrote it earlier. I don't know, Darren, if you want to do Theo, Natalie, if you're still here. Tim, when you start, what proof do you need to bring a corp to hire you? I would say the 2 case studies. Theo, keep cool while getting grilled. I love it. Theo, are you still here? Kevin can go first. I'm curious what you think of my workshop title and how you structure those larger retainer coaching after your workshop. Great. Okay, Kevin, I'm going to bring you up, and then we'll get to Darren's question about how to structure the larger retainer coaching models. They don't have to be retainer, but they can be. So I'm going to go to the attendees. We've got Kevin here. Let's go to promote to panelist. Kevin, lay it on me.
All right, there we are.
Hey.
Awesome. Yeah, so just kind of piggyback on our previous chat there. So I mentioned I've got this live class in January, 8 Tuesdays in a row. I've got the cell phone, I've got a brand new Mac. I want to capture footage to build a value ladder where it turns into mini courses, testimonials, an ebook with some add-ons, etc. So think value ladder. This is in addition to me leveraging LinkedIn, local, free to fee for speaking and workshops. So you can't do everything at once, but what would you say to someone who says, I have this class, I want to leverage it for all the things you just mentioned? What's the best approach?
It's a really good question. So yeah, documents, PDFs are super important. Ebooks, helpful things. I would say try to start small, like just a single page with like the 9 best tips or like 7-step method or, something super easy, a quick checklist. Like some of my lead magnets have been just stupidly simple. For example, the 3-act origin story, the thing is literally just my 3-act origin story is childhood origin, youth awakening, adult choice. And I literally just put that on a document and I have the headline and then I have a couple empty bullet points for them to type in or write out if they want to print it out. That's it. But it's just something that like homework that they can facilitate, and they're more likely to do it if they have this worksheet than not. So it can be stupid simple. So that's on the worksheet side of things.
Yeah.
If you have any budget for this, hire a decent videographer and get them to come in and mic you up with a lav mic and film you.
Okay.
Best if they can bring a second camera person, but not necessary. I hired a friend of mine, admittedly, but I got him to do 2 days of these workshops I was already running. It was in a decent space. And he did $800 all in each time. I had the budget for it. Not everybody does. Totally get that. It was one of the best investments I made in my speaking career. High quality footage of you on stage is just, you need that. You really, really need that as soon as possible. So if you can go to Fiverr, if you can get somebody with a decent camera, if you have a friend, a brother-in-law, a sister-in-law, whoever, like get some decent footage. Cell phone footage is fine if it's all you can get. But if you can get the videography, don't get no footage is what I'm saying. So if all you have is your cell phone, great. But if you can get some high quality footage, do that. And then what you're going to want to do is make sure you have a Q&A in each session, just like I did today. The Q&A is going to reveal what your audience is really struggling with. From those Q&As, especially make sure they're recorded, get it transcribed, and then You can either do this manually or feed it into ChatGPT. I hate ChatGPT for generating language, and I would never advocate to write anything with it. But to analyze, it's very useful. Put a transcript in ChatGPT and say, hey, can you identify the common pain points, problems, questions, struggles in my audience's questions? And then from there, the ones you see the most and the ones you think you can answer the best, make the lead magnet. Because if it's based off their real questions, their real struggles, then you've really got something useful. Don't try to guess what it is. Try to get it in their own words.
That's awesome. Okay, noted.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the mistake we all make very early on is we think, what's the best thing I can make for them? And we come up with this really creative, clever thing. And then, hey, everyone goes, I don't need that. Or they just show us by not being interested in it. So the first lead magnet that was really successful for me was my signature workshop structure. And the only reason I knew it was going to be successful was because I kept hearing people be like, how do I structure a workshop? And then my second one was, how do I find paid gigs? That's where this whole course came from, was people were like, how do I find fucking paid gigs? I don't know how to find them. And so I was just like, well, here's my way. And then I built the whole course. So it's got to come from your audience before you start wasting any time making something fancy. Let the questions and the pain points and the struggles come from your audience and then answer them with something that they'll actually use.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
no worries. Awesome, dude. Thank you for your engagement and all your questions. And yeah, you'll get the email from me. So we'll stay connected.
Sounds great. Thank you,
Hey,
Will.
Kevin.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah, no
Yep.
problem. Bye. Okay, Darren, let's go next. I'll just get you up here. Oh, Laura, did you have a question?
I had a question about the workshop or about the pitch, but
Yes.
I don't want to eliminate people's opportunity to ask
Sure.
meaningful
Darren,
questions. I can ask you that later, or I can just hold.
just because you're on camera, Darren, can I just ask? Okay, I'm good to wait. Lovely. Thank you, Darren. So Laura, let's just because we have you on video, let's go
Real
now.
quickly, because the visuals weren't up when you were doing the pitch, I
Ah,
didn't know if there were details about the offering that you wanted us to know. I did hear the coaching piece of it, the 2 free months of coaching. What was there other things? And I'm just wondering, is it an asynchronous piece with this coaching component, or is it
yes.
just
Sorry.
understanding the little bit of the
I
details about
totally
what you
fucked up the
pitched?
pitch because I wasn't sharing the screen properly. So the main thing you buy is a video course and then 2 free months access to a community. Everyone in the community has bought this video course or is going through it. So everybody's kind of on the same page, whether they're at the same place, but they all have access to the same kind of curriculum. I'm sort of thinking of it as a video textbook. So that's the curriculum for the course and for the community. We all have the same information. If a question comes up that is answered best in the video course, I just say, "Hey everyone, module 4, chapter 3," but I answer it on the call as well, but I just say for more info to really, work on it, go to there. And that's, yeah, as I say, about 8 hours of stuff. The modules are branding, which is all about your 3-act origin story. That's where you'd work a lot on your, how to weave the story of your mom growing up and then how to piece that into the why did you go into law? How did you discover this neurodiversity thing? And then how did you come up with the ramp metaphor? That's all about the branding. And then also titling the workshop. I break down how to pick a good phrase that pays, how to pick a good audience, how to pick a good thing you want to teach. Um,
There
module
was something that was weekly.
Oh, yes. The weekly is the community. So I call it a course plus a community. The course
Okay.
is the video course. That's asynchronous. The community is synchronous. I and usually about 5 to 12 people, I would say, every week get on the call. Everybody asks me their questions, or we have a guest speaker who has a very specific thing to teach us, which is not my expertise. So I try
And
to
is that
bring,
the 2 months? The weekly
that's
thing
the
is for
two
two
free
months?
months. Yeah.
Okay.
After the 2 free months are up, it's 74 US per month.
Okay.
Right now, we have 8 active members, and people are kind of joining and leaving and coming back all the time. But there is a nice sense of like community, people showing up, liking each other. And there's a lot of, I mean, Humaira, if you're still on the call, she can tell you like people really work with each other off hours. Like it's been amazing. Somebody will be like, "Hey, my audience is, the legal professionals." And Laura, you can go, "Hey, I'm a legal professional. Like, do you want to run your workshop by me?" And then we get these great value exchange calls. And so I love that aspect of the community. But
Thank
also
you.
it's grounded in the curriculum of the video course.
Okay. I just
Yeah.
wanted to get the
Thank you
details so
for
that you
helping me
have your
hone my
pitch.
pitch for the next one of these because obviously I got a lot more work to do. Thanks, Laura.
All right.
Okay, Darren, let's get you up here. Let me find the participants. Hey, Darren, are you still there? And Neha, Olga, Scott, Jimmy, Kevin, thank you so much for continuing to be here. And Renee's note taker, thank you for staying here. And I hope to see you soon, Renee. Darren, hey, man, how are you?
See me? All
Yes.
right. Beautiful. I can't see me, but I can see you, which is perfect. Exactly
Yes.
how I want to have it.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, well,
Nice to see you, man. I feel like it's been forever since we had our video, like Zoom call, like years or how long has it
I
been?
think so.
Yeah,
Almost embarrassingly long. Too long.
crazy.
I actually can't see the chat anymore
Hmm.
where I had it. So let me just kind of pull it up one more time. I love your feed. I love the way it's structured, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on my workshop title.
Okay,
Uh, Experts say less, how experts can speak clearly and concisely with clients by answering four key questions.
great. Okay. Uh, Experts say less is interesting, but grammatically it's just it bumps for me. Do you know what I mean by that? It bumps for me. We used to
Yes.
say this in theater school. It's when you get taken out of the logic or the world of a play because something doesn't quite feel off or you can't understand it. So when I say this bumps for me is I don't immediately understand what experts say less means.
Yeah.
Are you telling them to, or do they already do it? I mean, those meanings aren't that different, anyways, but there's just a grammar thing that makes me not totally understand it. Um,
The, so that's my a little tagline that has a subheading that says, "No more rambling, just clear, concise answers."
yeah.
And it's really touching on the point that when you know so much, how do you filter it down?
Okay.
Okay.
So very often, my principle is the thing you say when you're explaining it is the thing you should write down in the on the actual paper. So as soon as
Okay.
you say no more rambling, to me, instantly that's a better title. What you're showing people how to do is stop rambling.
Hmm.
Now,
I
you
see.
could get more clever with it, creative with it if you wanted. My first pun thought is ramble off. It's a play off Led Zeppelin's Ramble On.
Yeah.
Stupid, whatever, that could be a thing. Or, what I always like to say is there a version of it that's like specific to you and your story? That's always my question. Can your phrase that pays come out of your story? For example, Gabby, who's my executive assistant, who you may have chatted with before, she is a former Olympic competitive swimmer or on the way to the Olympics. And so one of her phrase that pays that we came up with was stay in your lane. It was a double meaning based off her swimming background, but also what she realized as like the siloing of companies and the cross departmental communication problems that came with it. So the
Yeah.
stay in your lane thing was like a play on both swimming and communication. So it really became hers. And it's a way to remember, oh, that's the swimmer communicator speaker. Gabby,
Yeah.
she's the former swimmer who's now a communication coach. So
Okay.
it's extra cool, extra memorable, extra brand building if it can be related to your story. So I would say, where in your story did you learn that rambling was a big problem and how to solve it?
Well, the biggest connection for me is that when I was early in my career, I could never explain my ideas clearly and concisely. So my VPs, my directors, they never bought in.
Hmm.
And the whole idea here is around experts know so much, they struggle to communicate their technical expertise to
Concisely.
non-technical people to
Yes.
get them to buy in.
Yes. Now, I will say there are a lot of people who do this work, and that's good because it means there's a market for it. So now
Yeah.
that becomes extra important because it's less of a what do they call blue ocean. It's extra important for you to have a really specific phrase that pays, big idea, tagline, your version of this. Do you know Christopher Chin? Do you follow Christopher on
Yeah.
LinkedIn? His thing is he was a piano player, right? And his big idea, and he did a TED talk on this, was that his music ability helped him realize that communication is not a science, it's an art. And so once he started to approach communication from his music perspective, even though he was a super technical guy, it unlocked how to be a better communicator for him by thinking more artistically, more expressively, more fluidly, and he's got this cool TED talk where he plays the piano as he talks. And so that became his thing. Michaud, who is also who I know on LinkedIn, I think he's based in Toronto. His thing is called technically speaking. That's his phrase that pays. It's lovely. Technically speaking, it's about technical professionals to speak better. Um, And it's just a fun pun, and maybe somebody else has thought of it before, but as far as I know, he's the only one saying it. It could be more connected to him, but he is a former actor, so the speaking part maybe is his way in. So what I
Gotcha.
would say, Darren, is like, what is it about your journey and how you came up maybe with these four questions, or how you overcame this? That's your version of how to help technical professionals speak to non-experts.
Yeah. Oh, so is that a question for me?
Yeah, sorry, that's a question for
Oh,
you.
yeah, no problem. And maybe I'll give a little bit more context. The experts that I'm speaking in, that I'm helping, is in a particular industry where they are thrown onto expert panels in front of
Okay.
their peers, and there's a lot of pain around that. They ramble on stage in expert panels. And my personal connection is that I do, I am a facilitator, I do corporate training, but I do full 8 hour days where I had to learn how to take
Yes.
essentially 6 hours of content, remember it all, and convey it. So I had to figure out how can I condense so much knowledge into clear points that I can remember, I can repeat, and they can recall. And
I
that's what,
love that already.
yeah.
And so, Kevin, Neha, Scott, if you're still here, Laura, if you're still here, can you let Darren know? Like that seemed very, very clear and specific to me about this past of doing 6, 8 hour workshops and learning how to condense it. Um, does that resonate with you guys? I don't know if you are still here, also paying attention, but please write in the chat or give a hand raise or a thumb up. Does that sound good? From Darren. Keep cooking, Kevin. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think that's more for Kevin's chef background than Darren's thing. But yes, I like it. So keep going. I think maybe Kevin means so. Um, like something like you know, yeah, 6 hours and 6 seconds. That could be part of it, or um, something about this background of learning how to do so much content in a short amount of time. And what I really like is that you have a very specific use case, which is an expert going on a panel. Like that's what you
Mhm.
do, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
So what to me, that's pitching a leadership and C-suite team at an organization
Yeah.
or speaking to a conference, and you can prepare their leadership panels. You can do pre-conference work, which I've done a lot of, is preparing panelists for the actual conference. That's another thing you can offer. Um,
Okay.
but you would go into an organization and be like, "Hey, are your people on panels? Is that a big deal for your company? Do you have a CTO, a CEO, a VP, an executive director? Are you guys doing lots of panels to get your name out there?"
Which, yes, that is 100%. They all are.
They all are. So then you ask, but you know the answer is yes. And then you say, a huge problem I'm noticing is that experts don't know how to be concise on the panel, and the panel becomes a wasted opportunity where they could get their ideas out there and be memorable, but instead they just become a forgettable person, and it's like whatever you paid to be on that panel was wasted money, or what, however it works. You'll know more about this than me. So your solution is the four key questions or something, right?
Hmm.
Great.
Yes.
So what I would say is, um, really think about where it is in your story that makes you qualified to do this and makes you care. Why do you care, Darren?
Yeah. Oh God, after doing this for so many years, I hated. Ultimately, I don't want to be stuck in a conversation where someone's rambling for 10 minutes with no point. That
Yes.
was truly, honestly, the big Kickstarter for me.
Yeah.
And it came out of, well, what do they need to know in order to just condense their knowledge down so they actually just say what they want to say.
Yes. I think you've said the word rambling so much. I think rambling has to be in there. I don't
Rambling.
know, Neha, Scott, if you're still here, Kevin, Laura. I think it's got to be rambling in the phrase that pays.
Okay.
Rambling is the problem you're addressing. I have a resource, and I think I posted on LinkedIn about this, the 7 types of titles that tend to work. This is a way to help come up with your phrase that pays. It's in the video course as well. But um, there's like the person to become, there's like the philosophy to adopt, and then there's the problem to avoid or the problem to stop. And so for
Mhm.
you, it would be the problem to stop. Stop rambling. You know, There's a famous
Yeah.
lyric from the Belly song "Good Night, Irene," which is "Stop rambling, stop gambling." That could be part of it. You could steal that phrase from that thing, or you could say "rambling is gambling" in the sense that you are gambling your money at the conference that you're paying to be a part of by allowing your person to ramble and not making sure they don't. Something like that. Rambling is gambling, or rambling equals gambling. There's something in there to play with, but the word rambling has got to be, I think, in your phrase that pays for me. Now, this could change. There could be a word that they use instead, which is, blathering or whatever. So
Hmm.
we want to incorporate our audience's language eventually, but
Yeah.
we also want to stay true to ourselves. So I feel like because you keep saying this word, rambling, and it is that word that just everybody knows what that means. Everybody hates listening to it. Everybody hates doing it. How do we stop?
Yeah.
Stop rambling. That could be as much as you need.
Stop rambling. I
Or
like this. Oh,
or addicted to rambling. I don't know if or a rambling addict, like for the gambling addict pun. Kevin says,
yeah.
excited to connect, gotta run. Neha says, makes sense. Thank you, Neha. Neha, can I answer any of your questions? Do you want to workshop your thing? So Darren, yeah, does that help?
That's perfect.
Okay.
Thanks, Will.
Oh, but you had the question about the corporate structure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if there's time.
Okay, Neha, I just want to offer, because you're still here, I just want to offer if you wanted to jump in here, or Scott, because you're still here, if either of you want to jump up and get your workshop title workshopped, or if you don't feel like getting on camera, you can just write it into the chat and I can talk it out. Or any other questions, Neha and Scott. I really thank you guys for still being here. Yes? No? Okay, Darren, I'll wait for them to say something if they do want a question. I'm good. Maybe another day. I'm just starting, Neha. Excellent. But thank you for being here. I really appreciate your time and your engagement, your attention. Scott, if I haven't heard from you, I assume that all good. Okay, Darren, let's do your question.
Yeah.
How to structure the corporate offer, or do you want have a more specific question?
My I am very confident I can sell this as a 2 hour workshop to teams, but I get stuck at that $2,500 mark, and I know it's not what I
25,000,
want. 2,500
which is
for just
what?
like a 2 hour workshop,
Oh,
bring in 10
yes.
people,
Yeah.
20 people, and just do that.
Like
But
you
the
feel
idea,
confident charging 2,500 for a 2 hour
oh,
workshop for 10 people. Yeah.
yeah,
Great. Okay.
absolutely. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
that's bread and butter. But
Yeah.
the 13,000 and then the 25,000 going up and up into that is where I get stuck thinking I need to give more.
Yes. And you
But
do.
what I've really learned though is maybe what I'm thinking is more and what you actually have proven is needed and necessary to give are two different things. So I'd just love to learn more about
Oh,
what
yeah.
you actually do.
In a workshop, you want to keep things really, uh, really tight, concise,
Hmm.
especially in your prepared content. In the Q&A, you can get into all sorts of stuff. But in terms of like the slides that you put, also in the course, my signature workshop structure, it's very minimalist. It's your story, your big idea, then you have to prove the big idea. So it's like 4 to 5 slides with like some scientific evidence, some case studies, some data, some Gallup polls, references from literature or like analogies, logical proofs, just something saying like, here's why rambling is such a big deal or whatever, like problem or whatever. Um, then you give them the signature exercise, which for you sounds like the 4 key questions. Then you
Yeah.
let them practice and give them feedback on their practice. Then the
Yeah.
rest of the workshop is Q&A.
Yeah.
So just
Makes
super
sense.
tight. Then that's the preview to your work,
Yeah.
to your longer consulting package. Then what you say is either for the people here today or for another group of people, I offer a 6-month coaching package, 5 modules once a month, and then one-on-one coaching in between each module every month, but 2 weeks spaced apart.
For
So
teams or individuals?
for a cohort, so it can either be a team or it can be a cohort of individuals.
Ah.
For the one I'm doing right now, I have another one-on-one right after this call with one of the leaders. They're VPs, executive directors at a construction company. What I'm doing with them is public speaking and storytelling skills to be better leaders. I call it the Leadership Presence and Communication course. It's about them being better presenters and better empathetic communicators with their teams. My way into it is through storytelling, through awareness of body, face, hands, and voice. A lot of the stuff you've made me maybe seen me talk about, maybe not. Um,
Yeah.
the way that's structured is we have 6 group 90-minute calls, virtual calls, and then every member of the cohort gets a single 60-minute one-on-one every month in between those group calls. In the
If
one-on-one, sorry,
also like if there was 10 people in the cohort, that'd be
it's 10
10
one-on-ones.
calls
Yeah.
plus the group call.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've learned to keep it to max 8 people, and usually we find about 6 people per cohort.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
But if they're leaders, they will pay 25K for that. I could probably charge 50 if I'm being honest. But I started working with this company 2021, 2022.
Okay.
So I've kind of grandfathered them in. I've only raised the prices to keep up with inflation. So I've only raised them whatever inflation has been since 2022.
Yeah.
Um, Now, if I were to pitch this same course again, I'd charge 50K.
Okay.
And because it's a lot of work. It's not a ton of work, but it's a decent amount of work. And as you
Yeah.
know, each individual person you are a coach for, they will occupy space in your mind. You're going to
Oh,
want to send them
absolutely.
homework. You're going to want to check their homework. You're going to want, and I offer homework as part of this. So
Yeah.
it's not just the calls. There's also, you know, there's also stuff to do in between.
Yeah.
But as long as you have your framework, which is like module 1 is this, module 2 is this, module 3 is this, module 4 is this, and module 5 is this. And then my module 6 is not a module, it's like graduation day. So there's 6 calls, group calls, and 5 one-on-ones that go in between the 6 group calls. From the beginning to the end, I'm going to take you from being this type of a speaker to being this type of a speaker. That's
Mm.
the transformational promise of your module. And along the way, we need to cover, vocal stuff, mindset shift, um, technical versus simple language. Like you choose the modules. You choose what are the 5 biggest things for them to understand. Come up with a name for each one that's not, you know, that has a bit of a concept to it.
Hmm.
For example, my 5 modules are awareness, articulation, action, alignment, and automation. The 5 A's, and I also call it the 5 acts because of the theater background. But
Yeah.
awareness is about, body, face, hands, and voice. Articulation is about storytelling, 3 act stories. Action is about role playing and the specific types of speaking scenarios you have to do, looking at them and recording them and looking back at them. Act 4 alignment is all about the personal storytelling. Where do you come from? Why does that make you care about the things you care about? 3 act origin story. And then automation is how do you create habits and a routine and use tricks to put it in your calendar, whatever, so that this work continues after we're done here. And then module 6 is a graduation ceremony, essentially, where they all write a speech where they say, this is what I learned, and they use all their great skills to perform this speech. And it's
Yeah.
fun, it's emotional, it's sentimental, it's beautiful. People are like, thank you so much. Thank you for this. This was awesome. And then we're done. Uh,
And this is yearly thing. They come back and the
yeah,
same people do the same course.
no, different people each time.
Different people.
Yeah.
Oh,
They have asked me for an advanced version. I've never pitched them anything that they've gone for. They have asked me for like licensing my material. I've never found out how to do that. But for now, I'm just continuing with this client who I love. They love
yeah.
me. I love them. It's a great thing. I would love another one of these clients to maybe charge more too. That would really help. But for now, and then at one time when I used to train coaches, I had as much as 8 people running these cohorts at the same time for me, and they
Yeah.
would receive. I think I paid them $3,000 to run the cohort, which was like well above what they were asking for in terms of an hourly rate. And I would do all the other stuff, take care of all the admin. All they had to do was show up, and then I would charge the client 23 grand. So I would make 20 grand for the company. Obviously, I had other expenses, so it didn't all go to me, but
Yeah.
20 grand for the company, 3 grand for the coach. They were happy. I was happy. It was way too much work, to be honest. I moved away from that thing, but that's the year
Yeah.
that's the only year I've ever cracked 250K as a business owner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That you really helped me. I
Awesome.
want to be away on time.
Yes, I've
As
got to
well.
run. Neha, Scott, thank you so much if you're still here. Neha, thank you so much. Feel free to reach out. For anyone watching this replay, if you've made it this far, thank you so much. I'm going to be sending the thing out. Darren, so nice to see you. I'm going to go collapse in a corner and take some honey lemon tea, but thank you guys so much.
Zero.
Bye.